Testing. JB here. Hope everybody's doing outstanding. Hang on one second. January 19th, 2024. We got about 50 minutes to the close. Just going to be on really quick here. Just want to talk about a couple names. With the S&P, NASDAQ, all at all-time highs. Who would have thought it? At the start of the week, you had the entirety, seemed like everybody on FinTwit was pounding their chest saying, wow, here comes the big market crash, recession is coming. Everybody was expecting the Fed to cut rates at least 6 times. Now it's going to be scaled back with the stronger than expected retail sales numbers, the strong jobs report last week. And then sure enough, what happens? We have this monster rally to end a week. Just impressive. Huge earnings week next week, kicking off on Netflix. I think it's on Tuesday. Tesla, and then you have a lot of these tech names, and then we'll really start to roll into the Q4 earnings season. Should be fun. A lot of prelim numbers have come out over the last week or so. We had the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. There's some of these other conferences that have had some of these companies put out some of their preliminary numbers for this coming year. SMCI last night, just a monster beat and raise. You saw Taiwan Semiconductor, just another huge number. NVIDIA, Apple all soared yesterday on the report. So if that continues to happen, you have to think it kind of offsets any concerns around inflation. So if inflation at least stays a little hotter or to the norm, the higher than expected numbers on the earnings, I think will kind of offset that. So I'm not saying it's a backdrop for the SPY to go to 500, but certainly I think there's some opportunities in some of these names. So I'll summon a couple names, and first I'll talk about TripAdvisor. It's one of my favorite names from over the last couple of years. Bernstein came out this morning putting it as its best idea for 2024, reiterating their buy rating to $28 price target, saying that the sum of parts valuation of the company is undervalued based on a comparison with Yelp. So Trip has one of their companies they've acquired. I forget the name of. Is it Campus? I forget what the name of it is, but supposedly it has a $1 per user average value on that company, versus what Yelp gets is $30 per user. So you're talking a huge discrepancy there. So if the valuation, if the market starts pricing the proper valuation for this company, it's a huge benefit for TripAdvisor. I've always talked about the bullish case on TripAdvisor. It's the most trafficked travel website on the planet. At some point, the market will start to see that, and we reverse course. It's already started to do that. I think it heads into the mid-20s in the coming weeks. I'll continue to look for opportunities to play that for upside. Massimo, right, sitting here, I still have some 125 strikes, have the February 130s. Of course, what's it going to do is probably going to close at 124.90 today. But I think it heads over 130 on its own merits, regardless of what's going on with this Apple dispute. Apple's coming out saying they're going to go ahead with the Apple Watch without the pulse. Hang on a second. Just reading this here. Yeah, so they're going to do a workaround. So I guess, I'm not saying it's a win for Massimo. It's not a loss, and I think it just brings attention to the company. They just brought on the ex-CEO of Disney. I think that's all net positive. So, and not only that, last week reported upside preliminary guidance. So I think that bodes well, and it heads higher in the coming weeks. So I'll continue to look for opportunities to play that one. And then yesterday afternoon, in the 2K chat room, I posted I was looking at W calls or BIDU calls. And this is at like 1:40 yesterday afternoon. I posted about Wayfair on the watch list yesterday. I can't remember the last time over the last couple of years I've had Wayfair on the watch list, at least as a particular name. Maybe I've had it as a stock lotto I might trade just as the ticker, but not describe and post in the chart. And sure enough, what did I do yesterday? On the watch list, I posted about Wayfair, saying it's been beaten down since the 70 handle. I think there might be an opportunity to play some speculative lotto calls. Sure enough, I picked between the two, and I picked BIDU calls as opposed to getting the W calls. W this morning came out with a restructuring plan saying they're going to save upwards of $600 million in costs. Stock was up over 15% or so, still up 10%. Not going to chase it here. But I think if you look at the backdrop for Wayfair and some of the chatter you hear around the company, you have Temu, right, the PDD subsidiary that is just trying to really get entrenched in the US space with their discounts offerings online, and W just offers them a possibility of scaling out some kind of logistical warehouse setup, right? So the big part of or the concern with a company like Temu and PDD is the ability to get the products to the U.S. consumers in a timely fashion, and Wayfair has that scale. So who knows if there's a buyout, if they're a buyout candidate or what have you. But I think you look at W, and I think there's some room for upside. So I don't know if I'm going to get in here before the close, but really like that one. BIDU, I talked about on the rant 2 days ago. It seems every time there's some kind of situation going on in China, it always happens either in the summer, in the August months, or right at the start of the year. So here it is, the start of the year. We've had the China GDP numbers came in lower than expected. All these China ADR stocks just getting beaten up quite a bit. And then there's BIDU, and I think I put it on the watch this morning. BIDU is like the baby that's being thrown out with the bathwater. I think if there's a company that has an opportunity to really thrive in the current landscape, especially with AI being front and center, it's BIDU. So, got the calls, figured there was going to be maybe a bounce in the China stocks overnight, Thursday into Friday. BIDU would open up 105, 106. That did not happen. Maybe it happens on Monday, Tuesday. So still plenty of time. I have the 114 strikes. I put those in the 2K chat room and the regular chat room. We'll see if those play out. But, not sitting here banging the bull drum or pulling the bull horns on BIDU. But I do think there's an opportunity for at least a nice bounce into over the 110 handle. So that's BIDU. VKTX, finally, it's sitting here over $22. It almost looked like, and there was a lot of call volume today, maybe folks are pricing in some news over the weekend with a buyout. You take a look at VKTX and then some of the other names in the space like ALT, Altimmune, which is getting pummeled today, down 13%. GPCR, which is one of my top 5 stocks for 2024, also down. It's down 5%. So you would think they usually trade in tandem or in sympathy. So VKTX typically would be down as well, but it's up 6%. So does that mean there's some other possible rumors out there, some news? I don't know. I was looking for some later dated strikes. Just have a couple of the March 2020s left. Maybe I'll get some calls into the end of the day. But my thoughts on the GLP-1 space. It's only going to heat up, and it's only going to take one acquisition to get all these other names back on fire. So I don't know if that's going to happen over the weekend with VKTX. It's going to be ALT. It's going to be GPCR. We'll have to see how that plays out. Trying to think of some of these other names. Fiverr. So Fiverr got upgraded this morning by Goldman. Spectacular. They took their rating up to buy from neutral and took their price target. I think they already had a $43 price target. But my thoughts, if you haven't heard my rants on Fiverr, the future of especially the digital world is the gig economy in the digital world. People looking for, whether it be logos, whether it's being programs or things to utilize AI, whether it's creating drawings for someone based on AI, whatever it is, Fiverr is the go-to spot. You have Upwork as the other competitor in that space. But I think there continues to be a large opportunity. Stock has come way off its highs. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Folks thought, and some of the reason why I think the stock trades down here is because they thought AI was going to be the end of Fiverr, right? If you need to do a logo, you could just type in and get some kind of application or software to use the AI to create a logo for you. But I still think you need that middle person, right? So I think not only is it going to be not a net negative, I think it's a net positive for Fiverr and some of these gig economy companies. Why I continue to look for Fiverr for upside. So got those calls. I think it trades over $30. I've been trading Fiverr for the last couple of weeks, actually the last couple of months. I think that heads higher there. Yeah, some crazy moves in the chip space. SMCI, NVIDIA. I could go on rants for some of the sectors and rotations that we've seen over the years. And gosh, I can remember, I give these stories back in 2007 maybe. You had the dry shipping boom, right? There used to be DRYS, used to be the ticker. It went from like $10 all the way up to $120. Diana Shipping, all these other shipping companies went nuts because the Baltic Dry Index went from $1,000 to $20,000, which was how much it cost to transport whatever amount of goods per ton. And there was that big boom, and that big boom went bust. And then you had the fertilizer. The fertilizer stocks went up pretty well in 2022 into 2023 CF. Potash, Mosaic. But that was a big boom too, and maybe that was 2009, 2010. We had the solar boom. First Solar used to be it was like a $20 stock. It went all the way up to $400. I have to go back and look, but there was the big solar boom, and it seems like then you had the pot boom, pot stocks. So now we're in the midst, and I don't know, you have the AI boom, and now you have the semi boom. I don't know if you put those in conjunction, but I remember back in the day when Nvidia was a $1 or $2 stock, or maybe it was under that, under that. And I always thought of Nvidia as just this video card manufacturer, right? And if you had a high-end computer and you were trying to play some video games, you wanted to make sure you had that little green Nvidia symbol in your gaming system, right? And now it's just exploded, and to see where it is now. I wouldn't say it's tough to fan them, but it's up here $590, and it's trading up 3%. And you start looking at the monetary shifts in the valuation. 3% on its current valuation is pretty mind-boggling, right? So let's see if I can pull up what it is right now, but I don't have it up here. Yeah, so it's 1.4 trillion, right? So every 3% is, what is that? 10% would be 140 billion. So is it $30 billion in valuation? $4.42 billion it had in market cap today. Crazy stuff. So crazy. Nice job there, gambler. I'm trying to think of some other rants here. I love Zoom here. I added Zoom calls last Friday, and the stock's still below where it was, where it closed on last Friday. Got a downgrade. I guess BNP downgraded yesterday. Stock is kind of shaking that off. I would still like to trade that for higher, but I'm not going to try and chase it here. Similar Roku. I mean, I could go on and on about Roku. I always do. Every single rant I do. But I'm probably just going to wait till Netflix reports earnings next week. Maybe I'll try and get some speculative calls for a sympathy move in Roku. And that's about it. Star Surgical pretty much reversed all those after preliminary guidance. After announced preliminary guidance, the stock soared for a couple days. Pretty much gave all those gains back. We'll see if that can recoup some of those. I think that's it, folks. That's about it. Thanks for listening. Let's have a great weekend. Rock and roll.